What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for a live Twitter reaction to AZ Alkmaar 2, Celtic 1 as we went through 3-2 on aggregate on the night in Holland. We are in the hat for the group stages of the Europa League tomorrow, and that is the main thing. A stressful 90 minutes, I think it's fair to say. Very reminiscent of Hapoel Beersheva a few years ago in the Champions League qualifiers under Rodgers. Seen a few people saying that. I don't know if you watched the game back, if it would still have that feel to it. But at the time, there's plenty of nerves. I mean, you're almost watching for between your fingers at times, particularly at the start of that second half. Tonight, we'll start with Patrick Murphy. Felt like I've ran a marathon with kettlebells attached to my legs after watching that match. First half was a classic Celtic away performance, but Edouard as the outball once Vogic went off made a difference. I really hope we get Ange a few players in the last week of this window. I think tonight, that was the thing that turned the tide for us, because at the start of that second half, I thought the game and the tie was only going to go one way. I thought that AZ were going to go on and win it, because it was wave after wave. We were inviting pressure. Ange talked about before the game not wanting to go and sit on the lead and try and defend, because that would invite pressure against a good team. But we were inviting pressure against a good team in the first 10 minutes of that second half by playing the ball, taking goal kicks into the 6-yard box when they had us penned in. We had so many occasions where it was going out to the centre halves and they were just playing it out for a throw-in because they couldn't find a teammate. We were under pressure big time in that spell of the game. But when Edouard come on, Vogic, who I think the game passed by, goes off. Christie goes into midfield and Edouard works as the outball, and all of a sudden we managed to turn the tide. And even though there was nervy moments and that chance, 78 minutes for Poku, I think it is, that misses it at the back post, that is the big major let-off. Because if that goes in, then the tie's headed for extra time, which who knows how it ended up, and we don't want extra time ahead of the game on Sunday. So that was a big let-off for us. But we managed to get through it, and that is really all that matters tonight. A two-legged tie. The performance last week was excellent, and we've done enough tonight to get through. John M, 71. People forget that Dutch football was played at a high tempo. We won't come up against that again this season. 2 stupid mistakes and a lot of pressure, but the mistakes were their only goals. A hard night, but well done, Celtic. Aye, that's it at the end of the day. I think AZ played well. I know we've gifted them 2 goals tonight, but I think the speed of their play, I think the fitness levels they showed were really, really good as well. Both games, actually, if you think about the game last week at Celtic Park, it was pretty open. We did manage to win it 2-0, but they had chances as well. And I think tonight, there were spells where it was end-to-end, even though we were the team that was under the cosh for most of that. But on the counter-attack, in those early moments, we did look dangerous. We obviously get the goal, which is absolutely brilliant, by the way. Great ball up the line by Ralston, and you can tell when Abada gets onto it, all he has to do is just lift his head and square it for Kyogo, and he times the pass absolutely perfectly. It's on a plate for Kyogo, and he finishes it as you would expect him to. It was a great goal, and as I said already about Kyogo, he's going to score so many goals like that, because he times his runs to perfection, and in that sort of 6-yard box area, he's absolutely deadly. Kevin Hanna, AZ are a pretty decent team, to be fair. My only worry is that our defence is stinking and will leak goals for fun in Europe this year. I don't think there's any hiding that at the minute. That's why we need reinforcements. But you think about those spells in the first half where we were just all over the place. Like, it was like they were passing a bomb about at the back. It was incredible. And you think going forward, we're going to need to either get reinforcements in and sort of rejig how the back four looks, or make big improvements with the back line that's there, because, as I say, at times we were just all over the place. And you can tell, I don't know what it is about Celtic, my entire life watching them, 20 odd year, away from home in Europe, we're flustered, nervous, error prone, backs against the wall, we look like rabbits in headlights at times. That's just the general way that Celtic play away from home in Europe. I'm sure these are all used to it. But we're going to need to make vast improvements for the group stage. But I'm happy with the trajectory the team is on. The improvements we've made in the last few weeks have been brilliant. And I think the more time the players get with the manager, the better we'll get. Having said that, though, the board do need to sort out these areas of the team that have went unaddressed so far. We've only really got a week left of the transfer window. We're going to go into this game at Ibrox with Adam Montgomery at left back, who was good tonight, but we shouldn't be in that situation. We've got Anthony Ralston at right back, who's played really well. But again, what happens if Ralston gets injured? Juranovic is now in the door, but is he ready? Is he fit to go? That's the situation we're in at left back now, where we have to rely on a kid who's played very, very little first team football going into this massive game on Sunday. That shouldn't be the case, and we've only got a week to fix it. We've got to get another 2 or 3 players at least in the door ASAP. Joe Coffey, Christie was unreal. What an engine on the boy. Covered as well on the left with Taylor going off. Montgomery put in a good show too, a great prospect. Starfelt, not for me. He's had 2 huge amateur errors since the Hearts game, and this is not acceptable. I think Starfelt tonight, we talked about it in the full-time reaction there. Since he's come to the club, you can tell there's that nervousness. There's a really shaky aspect to his play. It's been mostly with the ball at his feet, and I feel like the errors have got worse in these 5 or 6 games that he's played, and not less. The penalty at Hearts was really rash. It was poor. He had a shaky one at Jablonec away before that, and you thought, all right, maybe he's just going to settle down. That one tonight is the worst. Obviously, he scores an own goal. I mean, it's just all wrong in it. It looks ridiculous. It's embarrassing. If you've seen that down the park on a Sunday morning, it would be hilarious to see it at that level. I mean, it's just remarkable. I'm not writing him off, but he does have to improve. For £4.5 million, I'd just like him to be better. I don't know when that's going to come. Maybe that's just the type of player he is, but we can't afford these high-profile errors in these big games. That's the first time really tonight that we've been up against a good level opposition away from home, where the atmosphere is hostile behind the goal in that first half. Behind our goal in the first half is where the sort of ultras are, if you like. The rest of the stadium was relatively tame and only 2/3 full. But we've got to deal with these situations better. We can't invite pressure like that, and we can't become that flustered away from home, because, as a previous person said, we'll just leak goals for fun. Last tweet tonight is Dave Jewell, 38, stressful to watch, gifted them 2 goals. Can't believe they never scored a clean goal over the 2 legs against us. Abada's first time pass to Kyogo cannot be underestimated. I totally agree with that. I mentioned it earlier. It looks easy. To the eye watching that on the TV, but that's difficult. He's running at full pace to get onto the end of the ball, and he's got to get the pass spot on, straight across, square it. The defender's coming in. He's got to make sure it's not too close to the goalkeeper. It's right along that corridor, straight into Kyogo's path, and as I say, the wee man finished it absolutely brilliantly. I want to go to some comments now for you guys watching. Ryan Kelly's asking, who do you fancy in the group stage tomorrow? I was just talking about that with Martin off air. We went through the pots just before the video finished. There's some tough teams in the Europa League this year. Pot 3 in particular, I mean, there's some big teams in there. I think West Ham are in there, Real Betis, Real Sociedad, PSV Eindhoven. There's a lot of dangerous teams in there. Pot 1, as you'd expect, Lyon, Napoli, Bayer Leverkusen, some really big clubs in there. And even Pot 4, there's a couple of maybe dangerous opponents, teams that we've had problems with in recent seasons, like Midtjylland, Ferencvaros. I think there's a Prague team in there as well. So I think Sparta Prague actually the same as last year. We could end up with a full group, but you always want that balance between maybe one sort of glamour tie that you can really enjoy and a brilliant away trip, but a group that you can get points in and really try and progress. I think European football, as always, is going to be important for us this year. I wouldn't mind getting West Ham, even though they're brilliant and they obviously battered us in pre-season there. I'd like to think further down our journey would be in a better position to play against them, but they really are a top team and they're playing brilliantly. I watched them the other night against Leicester and they were fantastic, but I think a trip down to London would be brilliant, because during all this COVID restrictions and countries on the green list and the amber list and testing and like all that stuff, it's maybe going to be a nightmare to travel away. So I hope we get a European away trip that we can go to without needing to worry about all the COVID restrictions, and we can go and really enjoy it. But other than that, a group that we can try and progress in anyway. That's it for tonight. Like this video, comment your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for joining me on the live stream. As always, tomorrow it's time to start the build up to the big derby on Sunday. So we'll see you then. Cheers.